Hello YouTube, this is Sir Odie. Today I'm coming at you with some hardcore Mashinky. Due to the fact that with the latest patch it tends to crash a bit while loading the map, I've go ahead and I've generated a new map. It's a 512. All the resources are set on low density, and I have train reverse toggled.
Connection lost.
Therefore, we're running at what is typically called hard mode. The idea is trains can't just zigzag back and forth, they have to go in loops. So let's go ahead and see if we're going to crash going into the construction mode, which we didn't. First thing we want to do, opening a new game, is we want to get a source of money income going. So we're going to be looking for some towns, preferably ones which are producing mid-20s or higher. Right here we've got Milton Keyes doing 26 and 23, but all the towns around it are 15 and 18. So let's see if we can find a better match. Up here in the corner we've got a 27 and we've got a 25 over there. We'd have to go over some terrain, or we'd have to bulldoze it. My starting money is maxed out. That way you don't have to sit here and watch me just do nothing while waiting on money to generate. So I've got the max amount of money to start with. That way we can get things started and going. This looks like it might, well, that's right where we were to begin with.
Connected.
So it's looking like that Milton Keyes area is going to be the most favorable. Right here we've got Plymouth and Colchester. We've got a 33 and a 19. And we've got Berwick down here if we wanted to tie it in. Or we've got Derry here. Derry would be good. The problem with Derry is it's right on the water and it doesn't have much potential for growth. It would all grow inland, and we want to be able to maximize the growth in the station's coverage. So rather than waste time, let's go ahead and get started here. One thing I want to note, it is also set on advancing to the next stage based on I can pay, or it's done at a specific time. My game's currently paused while I look around. And here we have 28 and 15. Another thing we want to note is right here in the middle, I'm most likely going to do a loop right here, these three towns. We've got lumber in the middle, and we've got a tool shop down here, but I don't see wood, so isolating that lumber yard won't be an issue. Now since we're in hard mode, we need to go in one end of the station and out the other. Let's see, what's a good thing to do? Another nice thing about the newer patches is we can bulldoze houses if we need to. Really advisable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the station right here. I'm going to do a double station. That way we can get more multiple trains in. If we look right now, our coverage is just 2 squares north and south of the station and 2 squares east and west. In the long run, we're going to want to run the extension like the signal box or the waiting room, and that extends our coverage. The signal box is actually going to allow us to extend the track another 2 spaces as well. So, to maximize our stuff, we're also going to want a restaurant here. We're going to be hauling passengers. So once we start getting wood tokens, we'll be able to add the restaurant, get some more capacity and some more income. So we've got that station done. I'm going to add 2 tracks of straight. That's where we're going to extend the tracks from. And let's go get a station started at our next place. Now the reason I bulldozed that road is I want to maximize my coverage. So as you can see, the town is there. So I want to add more road here. We need to go one more on each end. What this is going to do is it's going to allow houses to spawn right here next to the road. And right up here. And on this area up here, let's bulldoze these pieces of road, that. And build road right here. That's going to allow houses to spawn in these areas. I want to get the most houses in the coverage here. Now, so I also want to just go straight out with my tracks. That way I'm only tying up the least amount of squares for the houses. Now I'm also going to want houses to spawn down here below it. Now if you'll notice, I'm going 1 space lower than the track. That way the houses will spawn between the track and the road, and then 2 spaces. And everything works out real nice because if you look, my road is outside the coverage. So now we've got a good, nice future development of this town. So as I bring more people in here, it'll optimize its growth. Now the reason I didn't do tracks on the end here is because that's where we're going to want to start bending and curving tracks to meet areas. But in fact, what we want to do is we want to merge these 2 tracks. So we want to get that going. And we want to do that on this end as well. Now we want to put in signals. Like I said, I'm going to be extending this track, so I'm going to put the signals up ahead a little more. And just for ease of purpose, I'm going to have things going clockwise around my circle. So once we get trains on the track, what's going to happen, I'm going to have multiple trains here. So when, as they get up there, they're going to split up and one go in each station. And if they both come out of the station at the same time, the first one that makes it to this area, the Y of the track, is going to trigger the other signal to turn red, stopping that other train. That way they don't crash into each other. Now, let's on this one here. This is not a very nice town layout. So let's see, what are we going to want
Connection
to do
lost.
Well, let's just start by bulldozing this road here, that road. And it looks like our best town coverage would be building here and here. That way it's going to get these houses over here. But in order to get track in and out, I'm going to have to bulldoze down some houses. If you look, it's expensive to bulldoze a house. So if you're going to start out with a very low income and be very mindful of your spending, you don't want to be bulldozing houses at the beginning. So in order to minimize my amount of bulldozing, I'm going to take out this. And I'm going to build my stations right here. Let's actually start it 2 spaces down so we get that other
Connected.
bunch of houses there. Now we want to put in our waiting room. That's going to give us a little more coverage. Now we don't want houses to spawn here because that's where we're going to be putting our station extensions. Let's get the track going up here. Let's get this one merged in with it. Come out here. Come out 2 spaces for the extension and then merge it into this other track. Now, like I said, we're going to be going clockwise around here. So let's actually get the track itself connected. And we're going to want to put our lovely little doohickeys, signals, that's the word I'm looking for. Now, if you look really close at the signal, it's got 2 light posts. If you click on one of them goes one way and the other one goes the other way, and if you click on it again, it does both. Okay, now we got to get over to, let's build the roads. Let's see where our coverage is. Okay, so our coverage is somewhat minimized, or screwy. So let's get a road right here. That's going to get spawn of a house there, 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 and there. And at the end here. And let's get the road right here. And then on this side we want our road here. And then 2 spaces over.
Connection lost.
So we're not going to have a house spawn there unless we put a road right there. That will allow a house to spawn in that square. We're not going to have houses spawn in these squares here. But if we put a road right across here, let's just connect it to this one, have it cross the road. We're going to get houses spawn there. A house might develop into a double house into this square, might not. If it's not possible for a house to spawn there, the computer likes to spawn in roads there. So there we go, and this one is poised for a decent development. Not optimal, but decent. We could actually bulldoze and that. And as a result, a house should spawn there because it's touching the end of this road, and one should spawn there because it's touching the end of that road. Okay, over to this city. This city looks a little more easier to deal with. I'm going to put my station right up against it here because I'm going to be building my extensions in these chunks here. So if we build our waiting room, See how that covered in the territory quite nicely? And in the future we'll be putting the signal box in here, and once we extend it we can then put the restaurant in. So right now this spot here, a house can spawn because it's touching this road. The roads cover here, which will get these ones here. These two spots we can get coverage by adding roads right there. Now we're going to go with the double station like we did at the other places, so let's get that taken care of. Let's go ahead and get our tracks started. Ooh. So let's go 2 spaces and then merge it into the other track. Now I can only extend it 2 spaces from one end, but this way will give me more leeway depending on how the houses fill in. And we need our signals. See how we can tie this track into that other one. Now, even though we've got signals here and here, here and here, I'm going to be running quite a few trains on this track, so we want to break it up a little more into smaller chunks. If a train gets stuck at a station or at a signal, because of traffic in front of it, if it sits there too long, it's going to go into a reverse. We don't want to make it back up all the way from here all the way to there. So we're going to figure, right now our stations are 6 spaces long, but in the future our stations are going to be 8 spaces long. So I'm going to do roughly 10 spaces between the signals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A little more because I don't know exactly how the diagonals affect it. And if you notice, the track slightly disappeared. That's just a glitch. Now, I don't plan on having too many trains, so theoretically right now, if I have 4 trains, one will stop at this station, wait for a pickup, the other will stop at this station, wait for a pickup. A 3rd train would sit in this chunk of track, a 4th train would sit in this chunk of track. If I have 5 trains and they're all backing up in the same area, it would sit here. So let's just split this area up by half. And let's split this one up by half as well. Oops, accidentally created a second. Now we need to loop. Let's go ahead and take care of the roads over here. Now I don't know if it's relevant or not, but if you look really close, see all these little circles here? That indicates that those are trees. I don't know for sure whether or not the trees are going to prevent houses from spawning there. I'm just going to bulldoze them just in case. I know they'll spawn there. But if we look really close at some places, sometimes you can see those little circles under the actual houses. If you look really close at these two, you can see the little circles indicating there are trees in that square. But I'm just going to remove the doubt from the... Oh, Dang it, I didn't mean to put track, I meant to put road there.
Connected.
I'm just going to remove doubt and make sure that houses will spawn there. Again, we've got one gap between the station and the road, and then two gaps between the roads. Up here, we don't want houses to spawn here or here, so we're not going to put a road here. We're going to put it here. That's going to allow houses to spawn in this area here. A house will spawn here because of the road there. So I'm only letting like 2 spaces go to waste. But I can always fill them in with station extensions. And we want roads to spawn, or houses to spawn up here, so let's just go ahead and put that in there. That way we get these 2 spawns. Now to finish tying all the track together. Where are we going? Right there. Now, even though I started with max money, oh, you can't see it because my damn frame rate's in the way. It appears as though I've got roughly 800 bucks left. So I need to get me a depot in here before I blow all my money and get some tracks on the road. Or trains on the road, on the tracks. Oh, let's get a station right there and right there. That should do. Let's make sure they're going the right direction. Okay, so it looks as though we're all ready to actually get trains on the roll. So I mentioned earlier that we've only got one choice of train. I mentioned earlier that our stations are currently 6 spaces long, and in the future we're going to upgrade them to 8. So when we pick our train, if we look, we have the speed, we've got the overall power, the max weight, and the length. The only thing I really pay attention to at this point is the length. We know we're going to be hauling people, so let's filter out people, and we got 2 choices. We can go with the expensive car, which carries more people, and it's 0.92 in length, or we can go with the Pullman, which carries 8 people and is 0.56 in length. 8 and 8 is 16. 0.56 times 2 is 1 point above 0.92. So let's go with the
Connection
coaches.
lost.
We're gonna go till right there. We got 5.72. And I'm gonna want these to stop at each station until they're full. That's why I did 2 tracks. So we're gonna come over here to orders. We're gonna tell this train we want it to plus station Cambridge. We want it to unload first. It's gonna be in a loop. So when it gets to the end of my orders, it's gonna be full. We want it to unload first and then fill up. Now we want to go to the second station. We want to do plus and pick it. Station 2. We want it to unload first and then fill up. And on to the third station. Plus, station, unload, fill up. So this train is done. We're going to give it orders. And now I'm going to unpause the game. Let's speed it up a bit and get the train into the station. It can carry 90 people. Station 1 has a whopping 2 people in it at the moment, so it's going to take a bit to fill up. Now, I want roughly 4 trains on this track. So let's create another one,
Connected.
pretty much identical. Now, in order, I don't need to go through all I just did with the orders. I just click plus, and the train that has the orders that I already just did. So now this is a mirror image of that train. Let's get it started. It's going to pull up to that train right there and sit right next to it. Okay, now, the next train will pull into this area here. It'll probably pick one of those 2 spots, so we're going to create another one. And we're going to put the same stuff on it. And we're going to redo what we just did with Xeroxing the orders. Whoop, I missed and got the station, so let's try it. There we go. And now we're going to tell it to start. If you look, these arrows are red, so they're not going to pull into the station and crash. Now, since I want another train in there, let's put that there. If you'll notice now, this one is red and these ones are green, which means I can squeeze another train sitting right here. I mentioned I wanted 4 trains, so that's what we're going to get. And again, we're going to Xerox the orders by clicking plus and on a train that already has orders that I like. Now, if you'll notice, you can't see it. I'm down to like 90 money. Now before, trains only had an upkeep if they were moving. Now apparently if they are not in a station, they have upkeep. I mentioned earlier that the trains back up if they sit at a signal too long. Did you notice just before that one pulled into the station, it backed up a tad and then went forward? Oh, we got a quest. We apparently delivered our first batch of passengers, so let's collect that. And we've got our route going. So while this station here is going to be our bottleneck, because it appears that once they get loose,
lost.
This other station has 219 people. This one's got 213, so these trains are just going to zip on in until they are full. This is a problem. I probably should have put my arrows right here at the Y. I should have extended this out one more space of track. I got the money, so there it is, backing up. See that? Oh, that's going to cause a crash.
Connected.
There we go. Now we've got all of our trains pretty much waiting on Cambridge. If I wanted, I could come over here and take out the full load portion of the command right after Station 1, which is this part 3. So I'm going to click on remove and take out full load. And I'm going to force it to go to the next station. If you look, it's coming out and it's not full. So this one train, train 4, is going to zip into the station, take whatever it can, and leave. It's not going to sit around and wait. But everyone else will. Now, as more and more trains come from Station 3 up to Station 1 there, Cambridge is going to grow. If you click on the city name, we have right down here, 120 people have been delivered. Once 160 people are delivered, the house will grow. So let's just sit here a few and watch. Let's go to these trains and have it ignore the next signal. Force it on to the next level of its path. Now if we watch, we're delivering 90 people, and if we watch really close, a house should have appeared somewhere. There it is, right down here.
Connection lost.
Now we've got a few more people actually going into the station. So, towards the end of the game, if we played this game fast forward for a while, like if I went to work and came back, this whole area would be nothing but houses. And it would be jacking out people left and right to where none of the trains would be stopped. They'd just be zipping through everywhere. So now that we've got our money making going, let's call this episode a wrap. And next episode we're going to focus on getting some lumber going. And some coal. And some steel. But the coal and the steel will be future episodes. So that's it for this part of the series. And when we come back, which for you will be the next video, and for me will be about 30 seconds. So till next time, keep it real.